is your favorite animation movie? And don't try lying. We know you probably belt out Let It Go in the shower, and that's okay, because animation movies are the best thing since sliced bread. Animators used to have a much tougher job. But nowadays, it's becoming easier to make more detailed and accurate animation. Just look at the majesty and enchantment of Frozen. With the rise of technology, it seems like animation mistakes are a thing of the past. But not quite yet. Here are 10 movie mistakes that animators made without getting caught. Be sure to tell us about your favorite animation movie in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content like this. We can't let it go. Who remembers the summer smash hit Frozen? I do, but mostly because I can't get that song out of my head. It was heralded as the beginning of a new age for Disney, with the focus on sisterly love, and how you can't fall in love after just one night, and that love at first sight might not just be all that it's cracked up to be. Wait, before I go on, first movie focusing on the bond between sisters, Nanny had to look after Lilo when she was just 19 years old. Elsa shut herself in her room and had a servant take care of Anna. Regardless, it was a good movie. It made us laugh, it made us cry, it distracted us from a few obvious mistakes in the animation. Well, they might have distracted you, but not me. Oh no. The most obvious mistake is coming when Elsa is belting out her power ballad, Let It Go. She begins her transformation from oppressed female who hides out in a regular castle to confident queen who hides out in an ice castle. Makes total sense. Anyway, when she undoes her austere hairdo, revealing a stylish French braid, she pulls the braid from the back with her left hand. But then she reveals another unknown superpower. The braid passes through her shoulder, not over it. Is this an Easter egg revealing the plot of Frozen 2? Sad Shuffle. From the studio that gave us the movie about toys having feelings, cars having feelings, and monsters having feelings, here's the next logical installment. A movie about the feelings having feelings. Eat this! You guys, Pixar has been setting up an entire cinematic universe revolving around feelings, way before Marvel made it cool. Can you imagine a movie about Boo's emotions as she travels back through the closet to meet up with Sully and the rest of Monsters Inc? Pixar, hire me right now. Okay, but can we all agree that Inside Out was a brilliant movie that gave us a thrilling new perspective in an animation film? But alas, even such a masterpiece isn't perfect. On Riley's first day of school, she has to stand up and tell the class about herself. Pause right there, quickly. Can I just point out that it is such a cruel thing to do? Why do teachers still do that? Anyway, she tells the class a story about Minnesota, her home, and suddenly bursts into tears. It is a very emotional moment, and that's why most of us didn't notice that when Riley stood up, she had 2 books on her desk, with a blue one on the top, but when she sits down again, the blue book is on the bottom. You know, maybe the whole movie is like Inception and she's living in a dream world where she's actually aware of her emotions? No, that makes no sense. There is no excuse. That was definitely an animation mistake. Teleporting skeletons. The road to El Dorado tells the story of 2 enterprising thieves that get a map leading them to the mythical city of El Dorado. Once they're there, they're mistaken for gods, and like any normal pair of enterprising thieves would do, they go along with it. Things only get crazier from there. When the 2 enterprising thieves and their horse finally make it to an island, they are so relieved that they begin kissing the ground. Miguel then accidentally kisses a skeleton while his eyes are closed. Then he opens his eyes and freaks out. Seems pretty standard. But in a wide shot of the sandy beach right before this, there is no skeleton on the beach. This might be chalked up to the animators wanting to retain the element of surprise. But then it gets spookier. When Cortez lands on the beach, there are no skeletons. Conclusion? The island is haunted. Don't fight me on this. One more thing. Everybody knows that the city of El Dorado legend originated in Africa like the Black Panther trailer said. The disappearing poster. If you haven't watched Finding Nemo yet, then you're missing out. Not only is Ellen DeGeneres absolutely hilarious as the voice of Dory, but it's a really good story. One that feels almost real and human, which is ironic considering the story is about fish.
You mean you don't like me? No.
It's heartwarming and a real treat for the whole family. That's all very nice and all, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have any mistakes. For example, the story is set on the east coast of Australia, but the pelican Nigel is a brown pelican. This species is only native to the Americas. Okay, that wasn't an animator's mistake, but you're gonna make people think that you're super smart when you drop that at the next party, trust me. Okay, it hasn't worked for me yet. The animator's mistake is a little subtle. Before Nigel storms into the dentist's office to tell Nemo that his dad's looking for him, there is a vivid poster next to the window. When the dentist wrestles with Nigel, poster's gone. But then when the window's shut, voila, the poster's back. Maybe the poster got scared by all the commotion, or maybe Finding Nemo shares a universe with Harry Potter and the alligator in the poster was hungry and went for a snack. Explains all the disappearing fish. Whoa, dark.
Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim.
Invisible Simba. The Lion King is easily one of the best movies ever made. It took us on one crazy adventure as we grew up with Simba and helped him take down his crazy Uncle Scar. Ah, good times. We were even there for him when his father died. Not so good times. Over the years, people have watched the movie so many times that they found a few gaping holes and mistakes. I guess that's human nature. We always take a good thing and rip it apart. For example, some clever person who knows animals realized that Scar's black mane means that he should have been king since older lions have black manes. If that's the case, then Scar had a reason to be angry. And let us not even mention the infamous sex dust. But the mistake we're looking at today is when Simba disappeared. It's at the part in the movie when little Simba, traumatized by the death of his father, is urged to run away by his malicious uncle. Poor Simba runs all night, once again outwitting the evil hench hyenas. He collapses in the desert where a bunch of vultures mistake him for dinner. Timon and Pumbaa then come rushing in to play their favorite game of vulture bowling. In the frame when they're running towards the vultures, Simba's gone. When the vultures are gone, Simba's back. We get that grief can do crazy things to you, causing you to disappear. Not likely. Gone Hook. As with most of the movies on this list, Moana was a massive success, and it introduced a new Disney princess to the world. Let's hope they don't ruin the magic by giving her tons of unnecessary straight-to-DVD sequels.
Inescapable death!
Anyway, for those of you who have been living under a rock, Moana is the daughter of the chief of a Polynesian tribe. Basically, she wants to be adventurous, but is held back. She then breaks free, sets off on an adventure with the help of a male, who then leaves, and she must complete the quest herself. Which seems to be the new recipe for the next-gen Disney princess. One of the mistakes in this movie is when Dwayne Johnson Maui steals a stone from Te Fiti. He then turns into a bird and lands on a raft with his hook in hand. He looks at the stone, and when the shot changes, his hook's gone. That might seem like a minor mistake, but considering the amount of hissy fits he threw over the hook,
Trust me, my hook is the coolest collectible.
you would have thought he'd noticed it went missing. Other than that, Maui's pretty cool, but Grandma Tala is hands down the best character in the movie. Bunny business. Zootopia was a game changer. It took on so many controversial topics and put them into a place where it was okay to talk about them. The only problem is that Zootopia tries to take on so many controversial issues
Foxes are the worst.
that it's hard to pick one. And instead of showing us how to fix them, it tied everything into a neat little happy ending. But it's a start. Thing is that Zootopia also has incredible animation, and the animators really managed to make us feel as though Zootopia is a real city. They did a great job, but they couldn't quite make it perfect. At the Carrot Fair, Judy bids the audience a hearty goodnight, but when they walk out, it's clearly still daytime. Maybe Judy was just nervous? Okay, we have all been there, so we'll forgive her. But in another scene, when we're shown the gates of Zootopia Police Academy, the sign is written on the right so that we can read it from the front, like any other normal sign. But in another shot, the text is still in that same direction and not mirrored text as one would expect. And when Judy says goodbye to her parents when boarding the Zootopia Express, there are 2 doors, but when she sees the train moving away, there are 3 doors. Those poor animals. They already have to deal with predators going crazy and some overzealous meter maid, let alone doors that are always disappearing. All tangled up. The world never asked for animated reboots of their favorite fairy tales, but we got them. Yay. Snarky personality aside, it is kind of fun to watch all these stories in a different light and filled with fun characters, as well as some scary undertones that are best not dwelled upon. Okay, I went there. Can we just talk about the fact that Mother Gothel literally stole a baby, then kept her locked up for 18 years, and was about to do so for the rest of eternity, because that's pretty dark. But aside from that, the movie contains all those Disney movie tropes that we all know and love. For example, in the emotional scene when Flynn is about to die and was totally shackled up, he manages to cut Rapunzel's hair. His arms are free of restraint, but in the next wide shot, his arm is once again shackled. The power of love, man. Oh, and during the obligatory mass dance number in the bar, yes, this is a kid's movie. Only in real life, they're called strip clubs. The guy who has a hook destroys the piano by removing all the keys while pressing with said hook. But never fear, somehow the song goes on and the piano's magically fixed. Who says Rapunzel doesn't have a fairy godmother? Fair enough, she is fairly useless if that's all she does. But hey, at least the song could go on. Physics defying water. I waited for years for the Finding Dory movie. After being teased and tempted by the studio for years, they've finally released it. And let's be honest, there were more adults in those theaters than kids. It was worth every penny and strange look. I really enjoyed the movie, and even watched it a few times more, and once the magic of seeing all my childhood fish friends again wore off, I was starting to see a few glaring mistakes. Never watch a movie with me. I have no shame, I'll call out any mistake I see. And this is exactly what happened. In that one scene where Hank is transporting Dory to the tank, he carries her around in a coffee pot filled with water. But then in one shot, an employee is about to discover them, so Hank disguises himself in the coffee pot. Now, it is worth mentioning that he completely fills the coffee pot, as in the water should have spilled. But when the employee turns around, all they see is a strange coffee-based pot plant, but no spilled water. This is where it gets weird though. Hank then climbs out and resumes his journey with Dory, but the water level has not moved. I see why they didn't go with realism, but couldn't they have at least altered the water level a bit? It would have saved me a lot of embarrassment at the theater. Incredifaults. Back before the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, superhero movies went through a bit of a slump. Oh, who am I kidding, they sucked. And then came The Incredibles. It wasn't the superhero movie we wanted, but it was the one we needed. It proved that superhero movies could be cool and that everyone could enjoy them. In fact, The Incredibles is so good that it stands in a category of its own, which is why we deserve a sequel. I mean, we had a Mummy reboot. Why can't we have an Incredibles 2? We didn't deserve that goofy horror that was The Mummy. The Incredibles is a very good movie. That being said, they have a few mistakes they need to answer for. In that iconic scene when the robot is thrashing the city and Lucius is getting ready for his anniversary party, he leaves his aftershave bottle open to go and investigate the source of all the commotion. When he comes back, the lid on the aftershave is back on, which is not cool considering there could be an invisible super stalking Lucius in the bathroom. I hope those are mistakes, otherwise The Incredibles are a lot spookier than any of us suspected.
Hey, Zone.
And there you have it! 10 mistakes that animators made without getting caught. Did we miss any mistakes? Let us know and don't forget to subscribe.